In high school, I was a distracted driver, the epitome of such, actually. My husband, Josh, would try and tell you that even now I'm a distracted driver, but I would argue that as an adult, I am just more confident in my driving skills. I know what I'm doing, and therefore I can drive down the highway and eat chicken nuggets at the same time. But back to high school, I will admit that back then I was a distracted driver. So much so that on the first day of me getting my driver's license, my mom let me drive back to school, and then she was going to drop me off and switch places. And as I'm driving into the school parking lot, my friend David is walking on the sidewalk, and he sees me and he's like, "Hey, you got your license!" And I'm looking back at him and I'm like, "Yeah, check it out, look at me driving." Except as I was doing that, I started veering towards David, and he had to run off the sidewalk. I pulled up on the sidewalk a little bit, and he's like, "Watch out!" And that was the start of my driving and my skills of driving. And it was because I wasn't focused on the road. I was distracted paying attention to my friend David. And so because this was something that I did pretty often, I got a good amount of fender benders. They never were with another car or a person. They were always with inanimate objects. But there's one time specifically that I ran into an inanimate object, and it was not something that I could get away with. So one day after school, I'm at Sonic, and I drove a Ford Explorer, and so all my friends would pack into my car and we would meet all of our other friends at Sonic. And so we're in the Sonic booth, we're hanging out, and we're about to leave. And I'm not paying attention, I'm talking to my friends, and so as I back up, I don't realize how close I am to the Sonic menu. And so if this is the Sonic menu, this is my driver mirror on the side. And as I back up, I start hitting the menu, and so it bends the mirror. And because I'm a genius, I realized that the next thing I needed to do was clearly go forward to try and fix it, which then bent it the other way. By the time I got back in my original parking spot, my mirror was just like dangling by a wire. We all sat in my car in silence, and all I kept thinking was, my dad is going to kill me. He's gonna kill me. I'm sure of it. He's already been nagging me about how horrible I am as a driver, and he's not gonna be happy about this. And so luckily, at the time, my senior year, had been dating this boy named Michael Merritt, who was a race car driver, and his dad owned a car shop or car garage. And so I thought to myself, oh, if anyone could fix it, it's Michael. And so I call him up and I tell him what happened, and he's like, "All right, my dad, his garage just closed for the day, so meet me there, we'll fix it." So we show up to his garage, he looks at it, he looks at a couple tools, and he's like, "All right, I know what we need to do." And he goes to his dad's office, comes back, and he's holding a roll of black duct tape. That's right, we're in a car garage. I thought something could be fixed, but apparently the best solution was black duct tape, which, hey, honestly, it felt like a great idea. It could blend in with my car versus the regular colored duct tape would have been so obvious. And so we take the duct tape and he starts wrapping it around, and now the mirror looks like maybe it's fixed. And so I thank him and I go home. I don't hear anything from my dad. He doesn't point anything out. I go a couple days and I am just like laden with guilt, you guys. I did so many extra things around the house. I helped clean up for dinner. I offered to help dinner. I cleaned my room, which at the time is a miracle in itself because things were growing in my room. I did everything because I was trying to work so that my dad would be so happy with me and would love me so much. That way, when he saw that I had done something wrong, he wouldn't be as mad. Long story short, about a week later, we're getting into my car and I'm trying to block the window as we walk to my car, and my dad's like, "Ashley, are you walking funny because you don't want me to see your mirror?" And I was like, "Oh, what mirror?" And he's like, "Ashley, I saw that over a week ago. I saw it the day you came home. I know that your mirror is duct taped right now." He's like, "I'm not mad at you." He's like, "I wish you would have told me, but I'm not mad at you. Like, it's fine." And that may seem like a silly story, but I think of that story all the time. And the reason I think of that story is because we hear the word grace as Christians over and over. And we even learned about and talked more about grace this past Sunday in our Sunday service. Pastor Robert talked about it. But I feel like it's so much easier to begin to understand grace when you put it in your everyday scenario. You see, in Ephesians chapter 2, it says, "For you are saved by grace through faith. And this is not from yourselves. It is God's gift, not from works, so that no one can boast." Basically, that's saying that God looks at you and he loves you and he pours out grace on your life. And we fall into this false idea that just like with my car and how I knew I had fallen short, I had messed up, I tried to make up for it by doing all of these tasks, by doing all of these chores, if you will, so that my dad would love me more and not be mad at me as much. And this verse is saying we're all saved by grace, that God loves us and he pours grace out onto our lives. And it's not by our works. It's not by the things that we do. Sometimes we look at the places in our life where we've fallen short or where we've sinned. And so because of those, we try to make it up by doing other tasks, by doing better, trying to prove ourselves. But God is saying, no, like I love you and I am pouring grace out on you. And you are saved not by your works, but by your faith. And so as Christians, we are called to not do works, not try and prove ourselves, but to simply have faith and accept God. It says that it's a gift, it's God's gift to accept that grace. And it's an everyday reminding ourselves scenario. Every day waking up and reminding yourself, I don't have to prove myself. God loves me and he's poured out grace on my life and I'm saved because of that. So my challenge for you is to remind yourself of that God loves you and he pours out grace. But then my second challenge is not to hold on to that grace. It's not just you, it's that God pours grace out on it. It's every single person in this world. And so sometimes we have this automatic instinct to think instantly that now that we've received grace, that we are better than other people. And so we look at other people and we judge them. But if God has poured grace out on our lives, we are called to pour grace out on other people's lives. So my challenge is to know and accept God's grace, but then to show it to others as well.